Hello, welcome back to Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. Hope you're having a great week so far. Weekend's almost here. Anyway, I want to talk about an issue that I've noticed, and it kind of relates to the past NFT craze, that occurred around 2021, 2022. It went up, it went down. And overwhelmingly, people felt like they were getting ripped off with NFTs. And, that takes me to a recent video by Striker Breaks, where he's, I haven't been watching a lot of Striker Breaks lately. I kind of have the 1,000-yard stare from watching just a lot of breaks, period, if you know what I mean. You get to watch a lot of breaks. It's just like, oh, geez. But he's burning up all of his, I don't know if this was all of his junk wax, but just a lot of junk wax, which I don't know what happened. I wouldn't have done that. And I saw a lot of, people commenting that, they should donate it, other than burning it up. And, I have to agree. Other than, he obviously has a lot of cash to burn, if you know what I mean. He's always breaking stuff, so. But then I thought about how, he was saying this was like his burden and all this and that. And it's like, okay. But at least you had the opportunity to collect those. And the reason I say that is because I'm not sure what the future of card collecting looks like. But that takes me to this next thing. And that would be the Topps Bunt digital cards. And I tend to believe that these Topps Bunt digital cards, that really appear to be just basically NFTs, something similar, is really, one of the biggest just in-your-face scams that are out there. Now, maybe I could be wrong, and, all these people who are collecting Topps Bunt digital cards, maybe they're going to cash in someday and be millionaires / billionaires, for all the value that, this stuff could be holding. But when you dig into some of the comments with these digital cards and some of the prices, I just tend to believe that, this is just another scam, being shilled out by Michael Rubin. We have to fund Michael Rubin's lifestyle, you understand? He's a billionaire. We have to continue funding all the 1%'s lifestyle, whether it's scams, schemes, whatever, But this, to me, just comes out as, the biggest in-your-face scam or scheme out there. And that's just for the fact that someone could just go around with a cell phone, take pictures of cards, and say, I own them. Seriously? Do you really own that card? I mean, and what is ownership if you want to consider the fact that you own something from a digital picture, are you going to go say you own vehicles, in that manner, or else artwork, hey, I own all the most expensive artwork in the world. Yeah, it's all on my phone. I took pictures of them. I mean, give me a break. And that's why I just tend to think this needs to get shut down. Cardboard is worth a lot more value than just a cold digital picture. So, we'll take a cruise at some of these prices of these Topps digital cards, that's like an Alex Rodriguez auto, Joey Votto auto. And hey, if you're going to go digital, go with the auto patches. There's a Bryce Harper one. Here's a one for Ronald Acuna Jr. It's a patch. Here's that 2025 Topps Now. Squirrel Takes Mount, Yankee Stadium. I don't know if you saw that game. But you can own it digitally. You can load up on your phone, load up on your computer. Maybe a pad of something. I don't know, but when you think of ownership, I typically don't think of ownership as Topps Bunt Digital. Now, this thing on X, I think, when you get into the comments, this really just lays it out. Now, it says here, this was posted, a little while ago, August 4th. Maybe you've seen this on X already. But it says here, someone explained Topps Bunt to me. I downloaded and went in blind. Spent $9.99. What do I do with this? Admire them digitally? Let's take a look at these cards that he bought. Here's a James Wood auto. There's a Sammy Sosa auto. We have a Tim Hudson auto. We have a Seth Lugo auto. All right. And, digitally, it is what it is. So let's read some of the comments. All right, here's a comment. They should make some of these off-center and with frayed corners and creases just for realism. Then when you get your digital card, you can be just as upset as in real life when your card is all jacked up. Yeah, man. Make it appear to be something out of a pack that's all messed up. You buy a 12-foot projector screen and make yourself a nice slideshow. All right. I work in IT and consider myself open to most ideas. To each their own, of course, but this makes zero sense to me, as did NFTs. Why save for your dream car if you own an original picture of one? Like, it truly boggles my mind that there is a market, but, Is that a digital sticker auto? And as far as I could tell, it was hard signed. Is it possible to pull vouchers for physical cards? When Topps Black Chrome came out, there was a chase card that was a hobby box of Chrome Black sent to your address. There was also one with Bowman where if you pulled it, they shipped you a full case. And here's one. Truthfully, my brother makes a killing buying and selling on there. Okay. I could be wrong. Maybe people are just, buying these up right and left. And we can check out some of the sales. Why not? Yes, you admire them digitally. I play it to escape my addiction for physical wax. However, you don't need an escape for that. There are buyers on eBay for these digital cards. I've sold some Bunt, Skate, and Marvel on eBay. Okay. So we checked that out. And now we'll just check out some of the sales on eBay. We checked out some of the cards. It's only fair to check out some of the sales on eBay. All right. And, I shouldn't be, making fun of the buyers or anything. It's not really their fault. It's just, it's our current market. So here's a Mike Trout auto digital that was sold for $2.99. We have a Roman Anthony digital card that was sold for $6.99. And, they're buying them up. I mean, this is from August 28th, We have a Pete Alonso. An Ichiro for $2.75. But really, what gets me is if you look at the cards, it's an Ichiro auto, that's a Mike Trout auto, $2.99. So they're getting like kind of low end rates, a little bit more than I expected, $2.75. I'm not sure that looks like a real card to me. Here's a Topps Bunt digital Pete Alonso, Topps Sterling 2025 auto relic, $2.95. So you're not going to get rich off of these cards, at least not right now. Maybe if these Topps Bunt digitals are still around 100 years from now, but what are they going to do, double at $6? I don't know. But when you look at the whole scheme of Topps Bunt digital, it just feels like it's a way to go after people who can't afford real cards now, isn't it? Try and milk some more money out of, people who are desperate for cards. And, we're creeping into, the playoffs of the MLB, postseason stuff. So people are going to be jumping more into, baseball cards like they typically do. But, the Topps Bunt digital stuff, the NFTs, I believe that people thought that, this would be the postmodern era of sports cards, but I don't believe it is. I mean, Topps Bunt digital, it is what it is. Like that guy scratching his head, why did I pay $10 for 4 auto cards? What to just look at on your phone? Yeah, I mean, and that's the great thing about wax, obviously, if you're a big wealthy guy, maybe you can afford to burn all your junk wax. But I'm not that type of person, maybe I'm a hoarder, whatever. But if you have physical cards, to me, they're valued so much more than what they're trying to shill out now with say, the Topps Bunt digital stuff, and it's only going to get worse in the future, as we keep moving on. People keep hyping up, the smartphone reality. But I'm still the guy that I prefer the pre-9/11 USA for the most part. It was just a more fun country, than post-9/11. Post-9/11 is just, it feels like I'm living in an age of corporate and political grifting that has the backing of the government behind it. You know what I mean? And the consumer is really just a stepping stone for a stockholder, if you know what I mean. Or a shareholder. And to an extent, Topps Bunt digital NFTs, whatever you want to call them, is really, the worst of the worst. I mean, I could just go take pictures of anything I want and claim that I own it. If we live in a world, of NFT Topps Bunt digital, it's a total joke. It just really is. Like, I mean, if you own one of these cards, maybe you could go to like a movie theater and have them post your Topps Bunt digital auto up there for you. I don't know where this is going. But it's as cold and worthless as anything I've ever ran into. And I know I used to make NFTs, and you're supposed to, get rid of all your other copies after you make an NFT, so the owner has the only copy of it. So it's like a one of one, but it still just feels like a joke to me. So anyway, if you feel differently, leave some comments, or just leave some comments, period. I'd like to thank my subscribers, all my recent subscribers, of course, all my viewers. So I hope you tune in again for the next episode of Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. I'm out of here. Bye.